Los Angeles, a light rainy day. In the cozy living room with soft yellow light, Caitriona Balfe sits quietly, her deep brown eyes focused on the glass window where the raindrops patter down. No longer the strong Claire Fraser of Outlander, today, she is a brave woman choosing to face the darkness of her past. I have never talked about this publicly. But maybe it is time, Caitriona begins, her voice as soft as a sigh. Growing up in the small town of Tydavnet in Ireland, Caitriona was a smart, strong-willed child who was always highly regarded by her teachers. But few knew that behind that polite smile was a conflicted soul. I used to bully a girl named Moira in class, Caitriona confesses. I called her ugly names, hid her books, and once made her cry in front of the whole school. I knew it was terrible, but at the time, I didn't understand what I was doing. The reason behind her behavior is not simple. When she was just 8 years old, Caitriona had to witness her parents arguing and then separating. Her mother had to work 3 jobs to support the family. The lack of affection, combined with the feeling of abandonment, created a huge void in Caitriona's heart. I felt invisible, unloved, and somehow I took my anger out on those who were weaker than me. It was a twisted defense mechanism, which I only realized after years of therapy. At the age of 20, while studying acting in Dublin, Caitriona met Moira again by chance at an art fair. I couldn't believe it. She looked at me, smiled, and said, "You still like your hair in a ponytail, don't you?" I froze, feeling the blood drain from my face. Moira had become an artist, looking incredibly calm and gentle. It was that conversation that made Caitriona cry after returning home. She forgave me. She said, "You were in pain, so you did that. I understand. I've never seen anyone so generous." After that encounter, Caitriona began volunteering at centers for traumatized children. It was this that helped her gradually release the emotional wounds she had carried from her childhood. When I played Claire in Outlander, there were parts where I had to act angry and desperate. I didn't act. I was really reliving the inner turmoil. Caitriona also shared that playing Claire was a turning point. Claire is a healer, both in the film and in my life. Through her, I learned to forgive myself. Caitriona is now an ambassador for Childline Ireland, where she helps children who have experienced emotional abuse learn to overcome their pain through art and conversation. I want to tell young people, if you have been a bully, don't hide from your past. Face it, find out why you did it. Apologize, make amends, and heal. She paused, looking into the distance. And if you have been a victim, don't stay silent. Speak up. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means letting go of the burden that others have placed on you. Today's story is not to excuse childhood mistakes, but to show that everyone has a shadow, and everyone deserves the chance to grow, correct their mistakes, and become a better version of themselves. Caitriona stood up, smiling softly. Outside, the rain had stopped. The thin light of the sun began to shine through the glass, reflecting the image of a woman who was imperfect, but honest, and brave. Caitriona's interview quickly went viral on social media platforms, becoming a phenomenon not only because of her popularity, but also because of her rare honesty in the glamorous entertainment world. On Twitter, the hashtag #ThankYouCaitriona quickly became a global trending topic. Thousands of people, from fans to those who had experienced childhood trauma, spoke up. As someone who was bullied, I cried when I read Caitriona's story. Forgiveness is a long journey, but you helped me believe that it can start today. At Mary writes, "Everyone has a past. But not everyone is brave enough to face it in public. You are an example of true maturity." At filmpsychologist. The Outlander fan community, which already loves Caitriona for her honest acting, now appreciates her even more for who she really is. A soul who admits her mistakes, heals, and dares to spread light from the darkness. Sam Heughan. I always knew she had an extraordinary heart. When asked about Caitriona's interview at an event in New York, Sam Heughan, or co-star for nearly a decade, simply smiled and said in his familiar deep voice, "I read it this morning, before I got on the plane." And I was silent for a few minutes. I always knew Kate was a deep person, but I didn't think she would choose to share such a private part of her past. He paused, then looked straight into the camera. Caitriona is not perfect. None of us are. But she is brave, and that makes her extraordinary. Sam also revealed that Caitriona had encouraged him to seek therapy several times when he was going through a personal crisis during his sudden rise to fame after the first season of Outlander. "She wasn't just a co-star, she was a true friend. She taught me that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's an opportunity to understand yourself better." Emotional reunion with former victim. A week after the interview was published, Caitriona received a handwritten letter. It was from a small town in Cork, Ireland, Moira. In the letter, Moira wrote, "Thank you for being brave. Not because I need an apology, but because people who were like you need to see that they can change. I read every line, and I see that the little girl you were is no longer lost. You have found the light, and that is worth spreading." Caitriona cried when she read the letter. She called Moira. They talked for more than 2 hours, not just about the past, but also about the future, about hope, about how they were both now living meaningful lives, imperfect, but honest. A month later, Caitriona announced that she would be releasing a memoir called The Girl I Was, recounting parts of her life that had never been told before, from her troubled childhood to her journey to becoming one of the most respected actresses in the world. "I'm not writing to justify myself," she shared in a short video on Instagram. "I'm writing to let anyone who has ever made a mistake know that change is possible, if you dare to look back. We've probably all been a part bully, and a part victim. What makes us different is not what we've done, but what we choose to do afterward." Caitriona Balfe chose truth. She chose light, and because of that, many people, including herself, were freed.